Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 95, and joining me today is Haig Basmadjian.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Got to keep the mic close.
Yes, I'm teaching him how to podcast here. So, let me start with just... You are a... Oh man, let me get my note out here. This is a...
All right, no editing, Eddie.
You are a sports chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
You specialize in soft tissue therapy.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, common listeners of the show know that I come from the film background, making movies and working on short films and commercials and such. So I don't have the knowledge of your industry. So I'm excited to kind of jump into kind of where the overlap could be and that sort of thing, and kind of see what you're all about. But for starters, what exactly do you do, and how else would you describe it too?
Okay. All right. So healthcare industry, very so many shades of gray. So I'm sure many of your listeners have heard of a chiropractor before. So I do a little more sports style. I deal with a lot of fitness and patients who are into active lifestyles. Chiropractors mainly are known for their adjusting. Not only do I adjust, but I also do a lot of muscle work, which is known as soft tissue therapy. There's like active release techniques and trigger point therapy. There are so many variations of it. So I do incorporate a lot of those styles. I also combine exercise and movement, and my practice is known as You Move. So it's really about, and we'll talk about this too, but it really comes down to how you express movements.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good summary there.
Yeah.
Appreciate the foundational layout. For starters, all right, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to start here, because there's a bunch of different directions we can go. But I want to kind of explore who you are and maybe start with learning about that through hearing as to why you chose this path.
Ooh.
And what got you started and what keeps you in it, and the whole why question.
All right, bring out the tissue box. No, just kidding. Okay, let's see. So around junior high, I used to be a very overweight kid. Well, not too overweight, but I was chubby. I didn't like the way I looked, which, by the way, at that age, we shouldn't even be thinking about that, but here I was thinking about that. So I started working out, and I really enjoyed working out. There were a lot of people around me who offered help in the gym and guidance, so that was very nice of them. So I enjoyed working out. I was able to change my body physique. And then I'm like, okay, let me see if I can make a career out of this. So started studying for personal training certifications. And then I did that. I really enjoyed it. That's pretty much how I started in the health and fitness industry.
Okay. So you said the gym journey started in like middle school, is what essentially
middle
when
school.
you had that realization of like I want to change my habits and be healthier through hitting the gym.
Exactly.
And then so at what point did you start personal training? Because I'm imagining middle school, and then you're working out through high school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Was it like post high school this all went down, or like what's the timeline?
So about junior, senior year, I started at, where was it? Gold's Gym here in Pasadena. That was my first job. Um, oh, you know what? No, my first job was Best Buy. And then I went into Gold's Gym. But yeah, that was towards the end of high school. And that's how I
Okay.
started my career.
All right. So you got into it because I don't know, like how.
It was actually pretty organic. People kept approaching me like, "Hey, wow, you really were able to change. Can you help me? Help me gain muscle. Help me like write me a program for strength training." And I'm like, "Okay, why not just get paid for this since I'm already doing it?" Yeah.
Okay. And all right, great. Cool. So let's go from, okay, so you're a personal trainer.
Mhm.
So you worked at Gold's Gym,
Mhm.
first job in this path in which you're still on. Um, yeah, are you so you were a personal trainer there
Correct.
right out of the gate or
Yeah.
okay.
So, yes, that was what I was hired for.
And then at what point did you cuz
Make
yeah,
transition.
sports
Okay.
chiropractor, like I don't know even what one does to make that jump from personal trainer to kind of a little bit more of a like you said, like medical field essentially. I figure there's a lot of school involved in there somewhere.
Yeah, good question. A lot of student loans too. Um, okay, so with my journey, personal training, helping clients, um, is Mike okay, by the way? Position. Cool.
It's doing great.
Okay, so with helping people change their body composition, and I'm sure, um, if you're physically active at all, let's say um, you do rock climbing, because I know Sarah does rock climbing. You go 4 or 5 days a week, you're probably gonna, feel some aches or have some minor injuries. So my clients that were seeing me 3, 4 times a week and also working out on their own were dealing with some stuff too. But as a trainer, well, one, especially in California, you can't put your hands, so you can't do any hands-on treatment to your clients. And you shouldn't really be trying to diagnose their problems. Um, so I was in this like little hula where I knew they were dealing with some pains and aches, but I didn't know what those were. And with my personality, I really want to know what's going on. So maybe 5, 6 years into training, I enrolled in a massage school. That way I can be certified and licensed to be able to put my hands on someone and provide some treatment. So I did the massage school, great experience, but yet you still weren't able to diagnose and you really didn't have a full scope of understanding of all the different types of pains someone can have, especially like red flag stuff too, something serious. And that's when I enrolled in chiropractic school, just so I can combine all three facets together.
Great. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, personal trainer can only do so much.
Correct.
Massage therapist can only do so much.
Yes.
So you had to connect all those dots, and here you are. Here
That's
we are.
Here we are.
And so, okay, so you're able to do all of that. You're able to learn all those red flag, all that stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Okay, so I guess let me just throw in this feels like a nice time to ask this question here. I just want to get a clarification maybe on maybe some misconceptions about the job. Like maybe there's people approach you and they think you can do something but you're actually, that's not what I do.
Uh,
Or like you having to explain exactly what you do to people. Like what kind of stuff do people think you do that you don't do? Or
yeah.
yeah.
I, what's pretty popular right now on social media um, is a lot of the cracking videos, like especially this one called Y strap. It's putting a strap around your head and pulling it from a chiropractor. Actually, even from people who aren't chiropractors too. So when people approach me, um, they think that chiropractic is just about cracking the bones. And that's one of the misconceptions of chiropractors in general and what I do as well. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of art involved in this field, in the health field in general, too, my opinion. So you see one practitioner and then you go to another, you're probably going to get two kind of different treatment styles. Or if you go to a surgeon and then you go to a physical therapist or an acupuncturist, you're probably going to get a different opinion of what's going on in your body as well. So there are misconceptions, and one of the biggest is, chiropractors only crack and only adjust. And that's only one part of my treatment style.
Okay, so how does that conversation normally go? Is that essentially what you say? Is that they're like, "Hey, can you crack my back?" And then you're like, "Well, there's a lot more going on here," kind of thing? Or
Exactly.
yeah, you have to give them the bad news of, "Sorry, but this is going to be like 4 to 8 week sessions, and this is going to be work on your end, and these are the stretches I need you to do." And
Absolutely. There's more educating involved. And if they've only heard one thing, they are a little reluctant. They're like, "Oh, wait, can you just crack me? Just crack me." But then I have a license. I don't want to lose my license. If anything happens to you, I don't want you to get hurt. So definitely have to have that conversation before. And you also feel it out with patients too. You get a vibe like, okay, maybe this isn't the right place for you. I can refer you to other people who kind of do what you're looking for.
yeah, sounds about right. Okay, so that's the biggest common misconception is chiropractors do more than than cracking.
Yeah, I
No,
mean, close to 4 years of school for cracking doesn't make sense. It's that can be learned online.
yeah, yeah, and I've never, yeah, I don't really want to look up that head strap thing, but
Yeah.
that sounds interesting and weird. Does it help?
I've never had it done to me. I so I can't answer that.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't
but
even know what is it. Okay, never mind. Let's not talk about that.
yeah.
We'll have to do another video where you're reacting to cracking videos, and then we'll,
Ooh, that's a good
yeah,
one.
there you
We
go.
should do that.
Social media.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's see. I want to jump into a little bit about. Let's do this. Let's kind of go in order of kind of how things would go if a client approaches you. Because we talked a little bit about the education aspects, but um, like what does let's just say like a consultation, like how that goes in general, potentially, and then maybe a little bit about, yeah, just start with there.
Kind of like the first session, or if someone calls me to inquire about more info.
Um,
I think we touched on if someone were to call me,
okay,
I would
okay.
pretty much explain everything that
Okay,
I just
great.
did.
So
Yeah.
then session one.
Session one. So session one always start with an examination and getting an idea and understanding the history of what led to like the injury this patient's dealing with. Um, Fortunately, had good schooling education. So one of the things we learn is the patient will tell you the story, will tell you pretty much everything, close to everything you need to know in the story, in their history. So I spend a good amount of time chatting with the patient before putting my hands on them or getting into examination. And then we'll get into the examination part, start with the vitals.
Actually, let me pause here.
Sure.
So you mentioned story.
Yes.
How good are people at explaining their story?
Great point. You kind of have to guide. There is a guiding that has to go on. Yeah. But over guiding can lead to
leading.
over guiding can make it worse as well, because at that point patients can just switch to yes and no answers, or because they don't know and they don't want to complicate the story, they can just agree with you. So there's a fine line with that too, unfortunately.
Okay.
So after we do the history taking, we'll get into the examination. But overall, the goal is not just relying on the history or the examination or what we find. You have to combine all together. And that's how you're going to get the best or the most accurate diagnosis, essentially.
Any advice for people going in to tell their story to you on like what to kind of prepare? Because I could imagine if I was rock climbing and I fell and I kind of fell weird and I tweaked either my back or I don't know what else I would, just
Your
something, my
neck.
wrist
Yeah.
or whatever. Um,
Yes.
I can go in and be like, all right, so this is what happened. But maybe there's stories too where this has been injured before, and I injured this back in high
Exactly.
school, or I injured this back as a kid, or
Yes.
like you kind of have to keep digging. Like
Exactly.
Okay.
And not only that, like prior history of injuries to your wrist or your back, but also the days leading up to that gym session that you had. How's your wrist feeling? Did you tweak it a couple days before picking up something at home and you didn't realize? So not only is the information valuable at the time of incident, but the couple days leading up to it. So what's common is a lot of people say, "Oh, I woke up with a stiff neck," or "I woke up with neck pain or back pain." So then we have to go a few days prior. What were you doing? Did you do anything out of your ordinary activities? And usually there was something.
Yeah, and I could imagine too scenarios in which like they say I woke up with a stiff neck, but there's probably also other things that could tie into it, like they tweaked the whole other part of the body that came to hurting this other thing, and they're feeling this, but actually they ignored this other thing.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, why do I have to talk to you about my leg? My leg is not my neck. And you're like, well,
Exactly. Yeah.
just tell me.
Yes. And again, this can be like a 30-40 minute conversation. And patients don't expect that because, I don't know, when was the last time you went to your primary care's office? With how hectic the medical field has become, patients don't get that one-on-one attention as much because it's just go, 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 go. What do you need? Prescribe this. Okay, go get that imaging. That's it. So they're not really used to having that 30-40 minute dialogue.
Oh, that's great. That's nice. That's what we should be getting, right?
I think so, which is why I offer that.
Okay. So you have so all right, that's session 1. You're kind of having the conversation, then you work through
The examination.
the examination.
And that's when I will do the orthopedic examination, check their neurological system, and do a movement assessment so that I can get a glimpse into how the person expresses movement.
That sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Because when you say expressing movement, I don't even know what that means.
Mm.
Like, is there like different categories of human beings? Like this person, like there's like a list of that you can funnel them into. This person's a mover in this way, and this person's a mover.
Good.
I'm trying
Well,
to, yeah, I'm
good
trying to.
questions. Um, let's take the squat as an example. It's a pretty common exercise. A lot of people who work out like to do a squat. Some people think that they're doing the best squat in the world. Some people purposely, I don't know, don't go below parallel. Some people like to go full. Is that, can I use the word like a cursing word on the show?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. It's called ass to grass. So that's when you go all the way down.
We have Sarah laughing in the background
Yeah,
over here.
it's
Yeah.
not even a cursing word, but got to be careful. So yeah, it's really, I want to see how you like to do the squat. So are you the type that wants to go all the way down? Are you the type that'll pause in the middle? That's what I mean by express movement.
Okay. So taking squat as an example,
Mm-hmm.
is it fair to say that you're looking to see if they're doing it correctly? Like there's a correct way to do it, and there's a way that's going to injure you. Is that essentially what you're looking for?
Good questions. Really good questions. There is no there is no incorrect way. There is no correct way if we really want to get into that world. It's what are you trying to achieve by doing it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There's no right or wrong way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And here's the thing. Does your body have the capacity to be able to handle the way you're trying to do it? So there's a load. Sorry, phone ringing. There's a load capacity your body has. Are you staying within your limits? If you're going past it, that's when injury is more likely to occur.
Great. Wow.
Does this make
No,
sense?
that's cool. I
Yeah.
like it.
Good.
I like it. So, being that you are described, being that you're a sports chiropractor,
Mm-hmm.
sports has a specific connotation to me. I'm assuming if yeah, it kind of speaks active,
Yep.
and it might shoo away kind of like quote unquote like a normal person that has an office job and doesn't do anything active. But I don't know if that's correct.
That great. That's a great point too. I chose to say it as sports chiropractic because I want, if you were to come to my office, I want you to have the perception there's an active component involved. Um, there are other chiro offices that do like passive stuff. They'll put you on passive machines, electrical stim, and then uh, adjust you. And again, nothing wrong with it, just not the style that I'm choosing to practice.
Okay. So I guess I was maybe thinking about the range of people that you get to
Mm-hmm.
look at too. Is I'm trying to imagine like somebody in their 60s or 70s that comes in because everybody moves
Yep.
and people want to be active in their later years as well. That's kind of what we hope for ourselves. Like, is that the range of scope that, like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
just this past week, I did start working with a 70-year-old female. And she has a background of yoga and Pilates. So any patient, regardless of their age, that I have dealt with has is currently doing some form of activity or has a history of it.
Sounds great. Sounds lovely. Sounds nice.
I I don't know how, but every patient I have is pretty awesome. So I'm
Oh,
very happy about that.
that's great.
Yeah.
I know one of them.
Oh yeah. I-
That's Sarah.
She's she's
We
she's
don't.
awesome to work with.
Yeah, we don't have to get into because there's the whole aspect of the multiple sessions, the recurring clients, the
Hmm.
and I don't want to put because Sarah's not here to speak for herself,
Yeah.
but well, she is, but she's not going to come in to talk. But it's called like the accountability aspect of giving information and trying to help people and being like, hey, did you like when you go to the dentist, right? It's like, hey,
Did you
have you done your
floss?
flossing? And every time you're like, well, no, of course not.
Yep. Yep.
Or yes, I did, and they know you didn't, and all that kind of stuff. So it feels like a similar boat for you too.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
like I showed you these stretches. Did you do them?
Exactly.
And that's a whole.
And I record the stretches or the exercises or the techniques with the patient's phone. That way they have it right there with them forever. Um, but it's like learning any skill. Uh, the more you do it, the better results you're going to get. The more of a change you're going to be able to create. So yes, there is a component of you having to do something on your own, and then there's a component of this is probably not going to be fixed in one session. I typically tell new patients like you need to give this 4 to 6 visits. We need to get a gauge of where you are, and then if we need to make any pivots to our course of care, or do we continue on building with one direction?
Great. It's good to get that clarified, get those expectations set.
That's Absolutely. That's one thing I need to improve on as well. Just helping really set better expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Because even I try my best to make the patient feel excellent as soon as possible. It's a reflection of my work, and I really want them to be better. But the expectations should be realistic. And, if you've been dealing with an injury for 2 years, for it to be resolved in one session is not realistic.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so I want to shift a little bit. We're still talking craft
Yeah.
here.
How am I doing?
You're doing great.
Good.
You're
Great.
doing great.
Okay.
I want to gauge maybe like being that you work in the health field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Okay, let's just keep it in the movement space.
Okay.
Like almost like more. Let's talk preventative measures or kind of like um ongoing day-to-day things that I'm going to give you like a different set group of the way people live in
Sure.
relation to, let's say, like set life. Like people that are on set, there's a variety of different types of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to gauge like what these people could be doing to help better themselves in this specific way. So that way they decrease the likelihood of injury or like, because that's kind of like the end goal too, right? Is making people healthier and being able to live life in the means with the better information and moving forward. That's yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things I also tell my patients, it's not only the things you can be doing, but also the things you should stop doing. So you're correct on that point.
Okay. All right. So person number one.
Let's hear it.
Uh, because this is kind of almost me. Um, but let's kind of maybe let's give you a person that when they're working on set, let's say for those that are more familiar with set life, let's say like my position, like a script supervisor, I sit in chairs like these
Uh-huh.
and I look at a monitor most of the day and I'm pretty static. And then you break for lunch and you go sit down again and then you come back to your seat and you're just like sitting all day or you're standing all day. and taking notes and doing stuff like that. Or there's like on like bigger movies and stuff, there's guys that just like they put the camera on this whole dolly rig and they roll the thing around. He's just
Yes.
sitting
Yeah.
operating a camera all day, and or even people monitoring the sound. The guys are looking at levels and they have a guy out there holding a boom mic, but the dude at home base is
Yep.
just sitting monitoring levels all day. For that type of person, that's pretty static.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking like 12-hour plus set days here. How how do how can these people not
Awesome.
fall apart?
So this is all spoken about in the first session as well. So let's, should we use you or do
Sure,
you want?
sure. Yeah,
Okay,
use me, use me.
sure. Okay, so let's take like the way you're sitting right now. So if you're telling me you have back pain as an example, which you haven't told me, the first thing that's gonna light a bulb in my mind is how you're sitting. So if you have one leg crossed, you're pretty much creating an asymmetry already. And then staying with always the same leg crossed for that many hours. So yeah, switching would probably be better, or the best would be both feet on the ground. But speaking about posture, like how to even sit, there is no perfect posture. The best saying that I think is true and accurate is your best posture is your next posture. So just don't stay stagnant, don't stay static in the same position. So any of those employees, those workers who are, listening to the audio or um, rolling around the camera, just try not to stay too static. Because if you do just stay still, you allow the passive structures in your body, such as like ligaments, to kind of overstretch. And you don't want those structures that are supposed to hold tension, like a rubber band. You don't want a rubber band to get overstretched because it loses its integrity to keep tension.
Okay, so
So
good.
just keep moving.
Okay,
Even if
keep
it's
moving.
even if it's micro movements, just
And you talked
change your
about
position.
neck posture too, is what you had mentioned. I'm assuming is that like straight neck versus like cell phone neck.
True. And going back to how you express movement, a lot of people, just look around too, that do text. Some of them fall into a pattern of anytime they have their phone in the hand, like I'll show you, they will always text like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just become an instilled pattern in themselves. So that's what I try to identify. Like, how do you express that? How do you express texting someone?
Okay, so so that's one aspect of doing the job. So that's like when the job is actually occurring in the
Huh?
seat. Keep moving a little,
Just be aware.
be aware, keep moving. What about, looks like I said, it's a long day
Mm-hmm.
and the camera is not always rolling, so stuff shifting around, and there's an opportunity to walk to craft services and grab a snack or do something else. It's hard to kind of like, because there's not really designated spaces on set normally for, like in the indie space especially, for like comfortable stretching. You always kind of feel like you're in the way or you're doing something weird. But ideally, what should movement like that be incorporated, or is there?
It
I
doesn't
don't
even
know.
have to be that big of a movement.
Okay,
Just don't stay stagnant.
so just even the walking is
The
helpful.
walking's fine, because you are creating communication with muscles and deep tissues in your body. And if you stay stagnant, and if you do repetitive stuff over and over, kind of going back to the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you do the same stuff every day, the stuff that's not being used, you're going to lose that communication capacity, and it's going to be harder to regain.
Great.
Yeah.
That's scary.
We should create something on set to have like little like recovery sessions, because I'm sure a lot of people deal with aches and pains on set.
Yeah, I mean, there's the you tighten up for sure in that
Yeah.
kind of environment. Like,
And when the camera is rolling, I'm sure you're subconsciously, of course, you're so focused that the last thing you're trying to worry about is your position and posture. So kind of that's out of your hand. But when it's not, when you're not rolling, like you said, have like an alert set on your phone to remind you, like, hey, get out of that position. Create some good communication with your body.
That's great. Oh, okay, cool. All right. I thought I had something else to say, but I forgot. So let's
Okay.
move on to person number 2.
Okay.
Is the complete other range,
Spectrum.
and we're talking more like the Sarah type. And this is like more of like the
Oh.
performer side. Is
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
like an actor, or they're like an action
Yes.
actor, or like a stunts.
Of course.
So they're there specifically for their movement abilities, and
I have a really good example
okay, let's hear it.
for Sarah. Oh no, go ahead.
No,
Go
that's pretty
ahead.
much it. Is yeah, they're there, and I know for them it's about keeping their body warm and keeping their body ready, and they gotta like they're falling on the ground and they're having to go over and over again,
Yes.
and then it's the hurry up and wait lifestyle too. It's like you're static and then you're not, and then you're static and you have to go, and but yeah, they're the movers.
Yes. Oh, such good point. So with
Okay.
these patients, you need to tell them like, "Hey, hit the brakes." And I don't know. Sarah and I have had this conversation. So I would tell her like, "Listen, you need to give so and so a break, part of your body. Don't do anything." And then she'll come in for a follow-up visit, and I would ask, "Hey, Sarah, what did you do? Did you do anything?" And you can tell on her face immediately. She's like, "I did." And then she'll tell me she went rock climbing or kung fu'd someone. Yeah. So there is that whole other opposite end of that spectrum where you need to tell them like, hey, slow down, slow down. So don't move as much.
Okay. So it's almost it's like the opposite end
Yeah.
of the other person. The other person is like, make sure you remember to move,
Yes.
and then the mover is like, remember to rest.
Let's take posture as an example too.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone's heard pull your shoulder blades back and down, back and down. So that's one extreme. The other extreme, you have the people who walk around with their shoulders forward, hunched, head forward. So the goal isn't to go from one extreme to the other. It's just stay in the middle. Have the capability to go shoulders fully back and down or forward. You need to allow your body to have that range to tap into either side. Which is why your best posture is your next posture. Don't stay in one spectrum. Just keep moving. Remind your... Jeez.
Sorry about that. A little neck crack.
He just cracked his own neck in front of a chiropractor.
Oops. Okay, great. Because okay, that's the I think about as you're saying that. What I'm thinking about is, oh my gosh, I don't know how you walk through the world.
Yes.
With all this information in your head, because I know even like, because Sarah does, she trains dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and she trains dog owners,
Mm-hmm.
and we walk around with her own dog, and it's hard looking at other untrained owners and untrained dogs,
Yeah,
and she knows she can point out everything that's wrong with what they're doing.
exactly.
This leash is wrong, this collar's wrong, they're on their phone as they're walking, they're not attentive, the dog's leading, there's not all
Yeah.
the stuff. So how do you how
Same
do, how do you
same thing. Does Sarah say anything to them? Pro- Probably not, I
No.
think. Does she?
No, she does not.
Yeah,
We're not the police.
yeah. And yeah, I've learned don't don't say anything, don't try to correct, only help when help is sought. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's still kind of I don't know, it's kind of feels like it's got to be rough though, is being like, "Oh, this person needs help," or "Wow, this is really wrong. They're going to hurt themselves," or all of the above. It's just like you could almost be a
Yeah.
superhero if you wanted to, and you could just go around with your cape and be
Yeah.
correcting people all day. But that's
But then
interesting.
again, people can get defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I've learned that more so while personal training. Um, if like someone's bench pressing or doing a squat, and then you go up and tell them like, "Hey, you're doing it wrong. You're gonna hurt yourself." Whereas in their mind, they're probably feeling like they accomplished something, being able to hit a certain personal record of weight that they're doing. So you wouldn't want to completely kill their vibe, ruin their mood with that.
Yeah. And we've all been in the situation too where I could imagine you're doing a squat at the gym and somebody comes up to you
Exactly.
and you're like, I
I
think
I
I
get
know.
offensive. Yeah.
You're like, I think I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and you're actually giving me bad advice right now.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to trust people. All right, we have a question coming in from
From
off
our live
camera.
audience. Yeah.
It's Sarah. What's up? Do you want to come and just talk into the mic real quick? Okay. All right, we'll listen.
So, going back to our lifestyle when we're the performers and we're active movers, like a lot of stunts, people or action actors train for like 4 to 6 hours at a minimum. Some people like 12-hour days doing that, and like their body has to be ready for that. What are some things those people can do to maintain their body in the midst of like high intensity work? For example, if you're out filming like something like John Wick for 8 months, how can you maintain your body then?
Perfect. Great question.
Okay, so I don't know if people heard that,
Yeah.
but she's asking about maintaining a body when you're at the top tier of like stunt world, and I
You
don't.
don't even have to be top tier because even a lot of us.
You sure don't want to talk into the mic?
Yeah.
I'll have you summarize the question.
You don't even have
Sure.
to be top tier.
Top tier was a bad descriptor.
Yeah, I would say like a lot of us are still potentially green in the stunt world.
Yeah.
Are training
Yeah.
at least 4 to 6 hours, and I'm in that.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have the chance to take a break for that long when you're trying to be ready for a 12-hour set day. Like,
Absolutely.
you have to be conditioned for that. So how do you maintain your body when that's the lifestyle?
Yeah. Do I need to summarize the
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see you do it.
So she's basically saying for people who are performers, like an athlete who typically perform on a daily basis, 4 to 6 hours, how can they maintain that? And are they supposed to stop to give their body a break? Does that sound right?
Kind of. Or like, what does taking a break look like?
What does taking a break look like?
Or even just resting in between when the expectation is you'll be working 8 months, 12-hour set days,
Yeah.
and you're moving and taking a beating.
Yeah. So what is the expectations when you are required to work and perform multiple hours on a daily basis? Good question. One, you are human. So just because someone is expecting you to do 8 hours of training, you're still human. There are some things that are realistic and some things that are not realistic. But going back to what we spoke about in the beginning of the show, you need what your body's capacity is, and are you staying within that capacity? So as a stunt actor, actress, you have built your capacity to be able to work 4 to 6 hours a day. You didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to do this 4 to 6 hours. So as long as you've built it, you can do it daily because you're staying within your capacity. But if you wake up tomorrow and say you're going to try to squat 500 pounds, no. But if you've been squatting for months, 100 pounds, 150, 200, 250, 300, that's fine because you've built that load capacity. Does that answer? Yeah.
Then are there any exercises, stretches, or things like that in between that we recommend for people?
Yeah, ice bath, sauna.
Some exercises or stretches in between to do. We're getting a little specific here. So if you've tried sauna or ice bath and you felt good, then you continue to do that. Or if we've identified a deficiency, movement deficiency in your body, you can work on that bit by bit. Like if we take an athlete like a soccer player or a baseball player, pitcher, you're not going to try to change their pitch when they're in season. You're not going to try to make them stronger or work on their mobility when they're in season because they work hours and hours a day on their throw. So you do little stuff just to maintain, make sure they're not getting worse. They're not going to hurt themselves. But off season, when you're not filming, when you're not playing, that's when you do the changes. So
Nice. Thanks for the
Yeah.
question. She's crawling away. All right, that was lovely.
does that make sense?
Makes
Does it make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Reach out if you have questions.
Okay. Now, let's jump to I want to talk about recovery, which is essentially, I guess I want to talk about it in the sense of maybe how, okay, the mental side of recovery. So, as Sarah was talking about, a lot of there's a lot of people out there that are used to being mobile and moving as their lifestyle, their job, and then they get injured and they need to recover. So they're essentially kept from the thing that they love doing and they can't do the stuff. So on top of all the sessions of needing to rebuild, there's that mental aspect of not getting to do the thing. So I guess the question is, what's your role in all of that?
Yeah, and even I've had personal experience with that too. So while I was, training and changing my body and enjoying workouts for myself back before I prioritized patients and clients, I've done bodybuilding, I've done powerlifting, and I've done Olympic lifting. So I've dealt with injuries too, and they're the worst. Like if you try to tell a professional athlete that, hey, you need to take a break or you need to stay off of, a basketball player shooting or running, it's like a crumbling sensation, feeling. So there's definitely a psychological component to that. But what I try to tell my patients that I've told myself, like, you will rebound back out of this. Um, you need to take that quarter step back to be able to take those multiple steps forward. Um, and it's the hardest thing to do, because they don't see that. They're just so in the moment. They're so used to making little progressions and not regressing, that you just need to help. Well, I try my best to help them see the bigger picture versus being so focused in on what's going on right now.
Yeah. Because does that fall into the, I don't know if the right word, purview of kind of like when you said when you were a personal trainer, you couldn't help assess where problems were coming from, and same with the massage therapist. Is this kind of that same vein where you have somebody come in, you can see they're dealing with a lot mentally, but you can't really 100% assess that aspect, or like how does that work?
Sometimes you are able to see it in the patient's face, like they can hear what you're saying, but they're not listening to what you're saying, and there is nothing that I can do on that. um, I don't think there is, so they need to probably hear it from another professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
But you okay, but you have been through it and you can empathize and you can be there in that way.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. And we got another chuckle from Sarah on that one. Oh my word. Okay. Let's talk about you a little bit, sir. Being that I just want to talk a little bit about like work-life balance.
Okay.
How do you what's your, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you do for work? How do you balance work and life?
Yeah. So besides besides treating patients, I also do trading in the stock market. So that's kind of completely opposite and in a whole different spectrum. But I find it pretty fun, and actually it's really, if you want to mess with your emotions, get into trading.
Oh no.
um, so that's just a skill that I'm really trying to get better at. So if I'm not doing that, I love to take naps. Like, I love sleeping. And then just on my laptop watching YouTube videos, trying to learn, always trying to learn more. Yeah, and the more I learn, like, I really do feel like there's so much that needs to be learned as well. So the more I learn, the less I know, kind of thing. And then hang out with friends, cousins. I have a fiance, hang out with her. And I love cars. So Porsche.
I've heard.
Yeah.
You still have the Jeep?
Still have the Jeep. Yeah. I've extended the lease 3 months now because I'm waiting for car prices to drop down, which I think it is. So.
Okay. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think about like being that you work in this specific field. I wonder what your outlook is like on what a work-life balance is, or how much time goes into that physical health, mental health, getting time away from work, getting to the time with work. I don't know if you have any specific outlooks on what your balance looks like, or how you manage.
So I've definitely had to cut back on my workouts, because there's a risk reward involved. Like, if I injure myself, I won't be able to treat patients, and there goes the job aspect of it. So I had to cut back on something I really enjoyed.
How much were you doing, and what does a
Yeah.
cutback look like?
So I was pretty much working out every day, essentially. Um, and it was like heavy lifting involved too. And with Olympic lifting, it's a whole body thing.
That's
So
recent.
recent, yeah,
Okay.
maybe the past year. Yeah. So now I've cut it back. I'm still active every day, but now it's more trying to fine tune my movement and trying to learn how I can move better myself, just so I can minimize injury, or when I'm working on a patient, I can minimize dysfunction or pain to my body while helping them.
Okay. Nice. So you're still essentially dedicating the same time each day to some sort of movement. You just switched from like the high the risk of the
Higher
more
risk stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
switching from the higher risk Olympic lifting
Yeah.
to
Just
finding yourself movement wise.
correct. Like if my capacity, 100% capacity, I'm at maybe 50 to 70%. I am not pushing anything on my body currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you
So,
cook?
do I cook? I meal prep the same thing every week.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So it's ground beef, put taco seasoning on it, and then my dinners usually involve tortilla, make a couple burritos, cheese, jalapenos. In the mornings, I have a protein bar. Um, for lunch, I have a protein smoothie, and then
And
comes
it's
dinner with a
okay.
lot of coffee in between.
Gotcha. Okay, I like it. So you're
Yeah.
you're a routine guy.
I'm a routine guy.
Very
Yeah.
routine based.
Yes.
That's yeah. Okay, cool. I don't remember because I know I shadowed. I came along for one of Sarah's sessions, and I forgot if we talked about meal prep there, but I know that
Yeah.
I always I don't know. I do the meal prep, or I used to do the meal prep. I brought it to Sarah a little bit too, but
Oh.
it is hard to bring somebody else on to that regimen.
Yeah. I've, especially since I was coaching people, I wanted to feel like what it was like to be coached. So for a year, I worked with a bodybuilding coach that I had to every week report how many calories and the macronutrients that I was eating. I had to take measurements and I had to weigh in and take pictures as well. So for anyone who is trying to lose weight, don't just rely on a scale. You want to take measurements and pictures because those can show a lot more than just the fluctuations on a scale. So yeah, that's pretty much where I think I developed the habit of the routine because it was a year straight of meal preps and consistent workouts and repeating week by week.
Yeah, and you've liked the meal prep and you've kept it essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it too.
What do you meal
I
prep?
don't do it as much
Yeah.
anymore. My meal prep, I switched from ground beef to turkey.
Okay.
So it's the ground turkey, and then
I also do ground bison instead
oh,
of beef. I should have
nice,
said that.
nice.
Yeah.
So I know, left to my own devices back in the day, I get the pot, the big pot,
Uh-huh.
throw some ground turkey in there, red onion, black bean, quinoa, broccoli, spinach. It's kind of like a little,
That sounds good.
kind of like yeah, it's yeah. And then I wouldn't season
Oh,
it.
you have to season
I
turkey.
wouldn't season it, but because of Sarah, we season it now.
Is it more enjoyable?
I don't really care too much.
Well,
But
do you put any like salsa or?
so yeah, it's a very flexible thing. I don't know if you mix it up too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do taco night with it.
Yep.
We'll just, scoop it into, we'll do the street taco style. throw some mozzarella and then the green sauce. And
Do we have some here on set right now?
Sarah's prepping it as we speak.
Perfect.
Yeah, and or if it's breakfast time or lunch or whatever, somebody you can just put it in a bowl, you can have it as
Exactly.
is. You can throw an egg on it. You can do whatever, and it's all nice and lovely. But
And it doesn't cost hundreds of dollars
Yeah,
like
it's
everything
nice.
does these days.
it's nice. So especially if I'm gonna be on set for a while, or if I'm gonna be on set this week, it's good to just get that in the.
And you probably feel good eating it as well,
It's
right?
nice.
Like
It's
you don't
nice.
feel heavy or
It
kind
it holds,
yeah.
and it's cheap,
Yes.
and and it doesn't taste bad
Yeah.
for me. Yeah. Yeah, so I like it, and Sarah's lovely enough to eat it on occasion with me, which is nice. Okay, moving on.
All right.
Trying to think of what else we got here. Okay, this is a little bit of a switch up. I'm just kind of curious because I did find you on Instagram.
Okay.
I know
Oh.
it's not an active Instagram
Mm-hmm. For now.
for now. We could talk about plans there, but I
Yeah.
do want to look at and kind of call out a post you had from May of 2017.
Mm.
You posted about like you had just bought like a Canon 80D,
Uh-huh.
and you had ambitions to kind of like take cool photos and videos and explore that space. It's been a little bit since then. That we're talking, 6 years. So how did that adventure go? What's
So that good. Wow. Have to think about that. I think it started with wanting to do projects with cars, like shooting photos of cars. And then I did enjoy like detailing my car as well. So I wanted to take shots like before and afters, and I wanted to document the detailing process that I was doing with the cars. That's how it started. But then it transitioned to um, creating social media posts for You Move. Yeah. But yeah, it started with cars and then transitioned to the posts.
okay? So did you?
But I returned that.
Oh, you don't have it
Yeah,
anymore.
instead of the Canon, I got the Sony A7,
Okay,
A7 III.
nice.
Yeah.
So you still dabble in that way, but you kind of focus still in more of like the almost more of the workspace where you're creating content for the business versus going out in the world and taking photos of flowers and stuff.
Yes. So it is supposed to be for work, but I still feel weird setting it up in office while I'm treating a patient. Because that is kind of common. You'll see that on social media by other chiropractors or practitioners, but something about it still feels weird to me. Like it takes the focus away from the patient and it makes it just for me is what I feel like.
Yeah, does it feel like more of a performance or
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, could be like yeah, good question.
I mean, that's what I would feel like. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not even. You're just kind of here for the benefit of like I need to play up myself. And
Exactly. Yes.
We're supposed to.
Yes.
I'm here for
and
you.
this is for you.
You're not here for me.
I really think that's how I need to check in with Sarah so she can depict what's going on in my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how I would see it. But okay, yeah. So you've dabbled with that, but
Bought nice lens for it, nice mics for it. Yeah, I still have it. So yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you still do the car stuff. You're still
No, I
Okay.
stopped the car stuff.
Oh,
I would
shucks.
spend like 3 days just detailing my car, and who has the time for that anymore?
I mean, if we make
3
time,
3 days. Come on, that's
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job on letting that go.
Yeah.
Finally. Okay, so there's that. And then let me see. I think I took a photo of this too. But This is another one from Instagram. This is from your You Move account.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, and then for people at home, if you want to follow along, this is the Instagram is specifically You Move Cairo. This post is from, I don't have the date here. I just took a screenshot. But I like how you have, I don't know, you have text posts as well. One of them, I guess, was curious on more explanation on it. You have, I'll just read what's here. You say, problem number 1. We're made to believe using this massage gun, muscle stimulator, adjustment, core workout will get rid of the pain. Problem number 2, nothing is helping, nothing works. And then you go on to say, very rarely is there a quick fix to eliminate long-standing pain or movement dysfunction. Some solid advice I could provide you with is this. Make sure the joints in your body work how they're supposed to. Learn how to control and own the movements these joints are designed to perform. But I guess curious on how you see, like I know even on set too, like somebody will have like a Theragun or like even my parents have one, Sarah has one, and what your opinion is on how to properly utilize them or what to pair it with to make them work, or I don't know what your thoughts are there.
So have you used one, or just your parents?
I have never been a fan, so I don't seek it out, but sometimes they get excited and they're like, try it, and I'm like, all right, okay.
So my goal with that post was, let me preface it a little. Do you remember during the Olympics, Michael Phelps had cupping done, and then cupping became this crazy craze. Like, you had to get cupping done. If you didn't, you're not human.
That's the photo of the back with like the kind of like the welt kind of look on it.
The little red spots all throughout his back. So that became a trend for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. And then that's all people would speak about, essentially. Like, no, forget massage. You need to get cupping done. This is it. This is the be all end all. Do you hear about it today? Probably not. Not as much.
Yeah.
Do you hear people are still in pain? Yeah. Then flash forward recently, most recent was, these tools such as a Theragun or Hypervolt. It's like, oh yeah, this is the best recovery tool. You'll never have pains or aches again once you do this on a daily basis. Well, do people still come to me for treatment? Yes. Do people still deal with aches and pains? Yes. So I'm more against not the tools, absolutely not the tools. It's just what's being promised backed by these tools. Like, this isn't gonna change your life. It'll help, but it shouldn't be demonstrated or viewed as this is the end all be all. I think that's what I was trying to get with the post. The only thing that you can do to, in my opinion, really change your stuff for the better is learn how to create and express movement better. Like, if you're that person who texts like this, start texting here instead. No matter what, if you continue doing this and then hypervolt your neck or cup your neck, and then the next day go back to texting like this, like, you're not changing anything. But instead, if you change the way you text message, as an example, you're doing far better for your neck than using any device. because you've changed the way you express the movement of texting. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. It's
It can sound complicated, but you just need to be aware. You need to be told, like, hey, stop doing that or change this.
I mean, it sounds kind of like everything else too.
Exactly.
You gotta fix the foundational framework, aka like your diet. If you add this, but you're still eating
Yes.
McDonald's,
You
or
can't do a soup diet for a week, lose weight, and then go back to eating the same way you're doing. You're or any other fad diet that we've dealt with. I don't know what it is, like a smoothie diet or cucumber diet. I don't know what is going on right
I
now.
don't know. I don't know. Okay, so that was that post.
Yeah. So the post, again, just to clarify, it's change the way you move versus relying on other inputs, external inputs from tools.
I like it. Yeah, be weary of the
That's it.
end all
Yes.
be all.
Yes.
There's
Whatever
essentially
is being promised, just
there's no such thing for anything.
for anything, there isn't.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I have. I don't know. This is kind of like a weird generalities opinions I just wanted to get from you here, and it's okay.
Let's do it.
Because we haven't talked about it. But what's your opinion on sleep?
From the guy who likes to sleep and take naps.
You're a napper.
Yeah. Absolutely essential. Essential. I don't know how people function 4 or 5 hours a day, or not even quality sleep. Like, how do you function? How's your sleep?
I think I'm blessed with good sleep.
Good sleep? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we live longer too.
You hear things.
Yeah.
But curious on how. Okay, so there's the. Like, what's your sleep pattern? I guess to get some context. You mentioned you nap, but
Yes.
do you also get a full night's sleep and then you tack on a nap, or do you? I don't know. How do you? What's your?
So I sleep around like 11, and then the market for trading opens 6:30, so I'm usually up by 6 the latest. And then I'll take probably a nap for 30 minutes around 10 o'clock, and then we'll transition to going to work for treating patients up until like 5, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like 7 to 8 hours,
Of sleep, yeah.
and then the half-hour nap.
And it's also, I'm not sure how much you know about sleep too, but it's cumulative. So if you do get 6 hours at night, if you get another hour split between 15 minutes or 30 minutes throughout the day, you're still getting like 7 hours, or if you nap more, 8 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I haven't retained the specifics about sleep, but I know I try to get 8 to 9
Nice.
a night is the goal.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, the set can be kind of mean with their schedules, because it's like you start your week with a 7 a.m. start,
Yeah.
and then because the way that movies work is, you shoot some stuff that's supposed to look like daytime, and then you
Exactly.
also have to shoot stuff that looks like nighttime,
Exactly.
and then by the end of the week, we're in a whole different location. We're starting at 7 p.m. and we're finishing at 7 a.m. And then we have that'll be like on a Friday,
Uh-huh.
and then we have to rest, try to recover on Saturday, and then we have another 7 a.m. start on Monday. So it's like you're kind of being pulled in all these
Yeah.
directions, and it's hard to have a full night's sleep when you're 180ing your sleep schedule.
Do you notice a difference in these fluctuations? Can you notice a difference between how your mood is and
Well,
such?
I'm in pain the whole time.
You are in pain.
It
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts so much.
Yeah.
And then I know like the sleep is hard to get, so you get most likely I'm getting less sleep
Mm.
at the different time, and then I know, and I've heard something somewhere where if you get like 4 hours, like it's hard to recover the sleep if you're not doing the cumulative effect. If you go the day with like a 4 hour sleep, it's hard to get those 4 hours back later.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm quite protective about my sleep. So I'm glad
Have to.
I'm glad you're validating me. Thank you.
Yes. Take naps. Sleep. Must.
Okay, what about I see you have a water bottle here.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on hydration?
Yes. Water and coffee. So.
But the
Yin opposing stuff. But yeah, I don't really like. Well, I do have a Diet Coke here and there. But
gross.
water, water for sure. It's sometimes I even tell patients who are heavy caffeine consumers, if they feel still tired after drinking 3-4 cups of coffee, then you're probably severely dehydrated. So instead, try to drink 3-4 bottles of water, and typically they end up feeling better.
Mm.
Yeah. So if coffee's not doing the trick, instead just load up on water and give that a shot.
Drink water.
Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Great. Okay. Well, I am trying to think. Okay, I guess lastly here,
Mhm.
I just want to talk about social media.
Uh-huh.
I know you've kind of joked a little bit about so I don't know. Even before we're rolling, you're like, my Instagram or this, or you want to
Yeah.
try to push for this. So what's your view? What are your views, and what are you trying to change? Like, I don't know how you see it all.
I don't want it to be like superficial. I don't want it to be the perfect world. So I want to try to approach when I start back social media. I I want it to be engaging yet just realistic, going back to the expectations. I want it to be real enough to still be able to build a following and not waste my time too, because social media takes time to build. So the effort that I put in, I want to make sure I'm firmly delivering something that I really believe in, and not just creating this like, hey, this is the best clinic, this is the only place you need to be to get your pains fixed, yada yada. One post that I remember I keep seeing, I don't know if they still do it, but it's like 3 exercises to fix your back pain. 3 exercises. You do these, your back pain will be resolved. But that's just not realistic. So I need to find my angle on how to deliver quality posts and information, but yet keep it realistic to set better expectations. That's where I need to figure out.
Yeah, that is tough. So you're talking about, is that specifically the You Move Cairo account, or are you talking about your personal as well?
More for the business.
Okay.
For personal, yeah, what is it called when you just read stuff but you don't post?
I
What
don't
is
know.
it called? Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
I definitely read on social media, or view posts, but maybe it's my personality. I don't post much personal stuff. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what Sarah would have to say about
Yes.
that.
She needs to, again, unclutter what's going on here.
Okay. Well, all right. I don't know how to. Yeah, I'm not here to give advice on your social media approach here, but that sounds nice. I
Well,
like the. Yeah, I think that's the way to. Yeah, the authentic.
yeah. I mean, you tell me, do you feel like it's like if you do follow a health or fitness page, has it come to the point where you're like, oh, I've seen this, I've heard this, but it's still not helping, you know? Or it's like, oh, this is redundant. Um, like, has it come to that point yet?
I am. I'm not the right person to
Not right.
ask.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I don't follow those pages, so
Yeah.
we can talk to Sarah after she does. But
And maybe my perception's different just being so involved in the
yeah,
field.
you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I guess what I think about is more like Sarah's world, like the dog training world,
Mm-hmm.
where it feels like does she goes the route that you're talking about in the good way that you're aiming
Yeah,
for is
and I've spoken with her about that too. So yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
So it makes sense that
Yeah.
you, because I mean that way resonates with me is like you're not. I can tell the honesty of
Yeah.
like, hey, this takes work. This is
Mm-hmm.
helpful, but also keep in mind there are other things you need. There are other aspects. Is you got to make sure you're getting your sleep. You got to make sure you're drinking your water, and you got to make sure you're being consistent with this over time. And
Yeah,
it's
and
not.
it goes back to that post that you read that I made. It's like I've tried everything. The reason why I say that I wrote the person saying I've tried everything. If you hear the same information
Mm,
over and over, then you're going to think that's everything. And then if you've tried those 3 exercises and you still have back pain, then you feel lost or loss of hope. That's why I need to figure out how to deliver different content.
that's the instant
Yeah.
gratificationness
Yeah.
of the world we live in,
Yeah.
right? Is
Exactly.
this hurts right now, and I need this better, and or like you can even talk about the journey of the hitting the gym and everything too. It's like a lot of people want the results now, and they want to lose that 10 pounds now, or they want to be able to lift this now, and stuff takes time. Stuff
Yes.
takes that
Yeah.
consistency,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, it's just it
yeah.
it requires more work than we are told.
Yeah, because it's definitely hard too. I could imagine having back pain and actually trying stuff
Oh, yeah.
and being like, I did this every day for a month.
Exactly.
When
Mm-hmm.
do I see it? If I'm
And the person who is dealing with back pain is probably aggravated as well. So they can't think as logically because there is frustration when you're in pain. So absolutely.
yeah, and that makes sense. That's where you come in. Is you could actually be like, either A, they were doing the right thing, and
Just the
and
context wasn't the right timing.
yeah, either yeah, not the right timing, or or something else with it,
Yeah.
or B, it was the wrong exercise, and you're
Mm-hmm.
here to help guide them to the where they actually want to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
It's
helpful.
just a lot of shades of gray. It's just hard to make it black or white. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say thanks again for coming on. I think we did a good job
You
here.
think so?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys leave comments if I can improve on anything. Yeah.
Um, if okay, so for those that do want to keep in the loop with
Mm-hmm.
what you're posting and what you're putting out there, or find you or just follow you in that way, let's shout out the Instagram again. Is that the
Instagram.
best place to keep in the loop?
Yeah, You Move Cairo is the Instagram handle. Um, that's probably the best place. Can check out like the Yelp as well, the Google reviews, if you want to hear some words from actual patients. Um, that way you get to see their experience, or you get a glimpse of their experience. But yeah, You Move Cairo on Instagram is where I will be reposting stuff.
Okay. Great. Perfect.
Cool.
All right, that's the show, everybody. Make sure, I don't know how to do the outros yet after 95 episodes, but yeah, like you said, leave a comment, subscribe,
Yes.
follow the channel, all the things, and yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye, everybody.
Bum, bum, bum.